Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car. Roses would be.
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have,
You'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, which are like,
Yeah.
I want to have a man's coolant.
and he's like, "Oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light."
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internets.
Is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
This is the Adobe one, right?
We're in Adobe. All right.
So I'll watch
Yeah.
when we end it that I don't close it.
That's right.
Good.
All right.
You're recording.
I am recording. We are back. Hello. Welcome to Auto Off Topic. It has been a minute, and it is now 2026. What's up, Brad?
I don't feel like it's a day past 2024.
It does
And
not.
We will call back to that comment when we go over our resolutions that we failed or made in the past year. So we will see where we're at.
Well, this is good because I don't fully remember them. So you're going to test me, I guess.
I took the time this afternoon to re-listen to last year's New Year's podcast because I knew
I'm
we had
sorry.
made some resolutions, and I knew that we probably nailed some and we probably failed some. So let's see how good or how bad we did in 2025.
All right. Who do you want? I mean, you already know them. Do you want to go first?
You do know them.
Or do you want to make
Well,
fun of me?
let's see.
and let me go
As-
first.
I always want to make fun of you, but that's okay. So
All right.
I listened to the episode. First things first, I just like to say I think it was a stellar episode, and I can see why we have so many people listen to us every week. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Whoops.
And no, it was a pretty good episode. It was a pretty good episode. So I enjoyed it despite it being my own voice because I forgot everything we talked about, and it was kind of neat to go back to the beginning of the White Truck Project. So. But anyway, so as a tradition goes, we generally have a Christmas themed episode and then a New Year's themed episode. But since we took the month of December off, we didn't do a Christmas themed episode this year. So, quick belated happy holidays to everybody. And I wanted to thank you, Andrew, for purchasing me an RC kit for Christmas because we have ruined each other's hobby life and have made each other into full-on RC nerds again. So I have to build now a Tamiya Monster Beetle. So very excited about that, actually. I'm planning out a paint scheme that will be different than box art. So hopefully it works out the way I think it's going to work out.
Cool.
Did you have a good holiday?
I did. Yeah. It's
Excellent.
a good, nice, relaxing one. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. I now have 2 RC kits to build because I officially also, as teased on previous podcasts, that I was thinking about getting into it. Naomi bought me a Yokomo drift chassis to build. So she's also supporting the disease. So
Yeah.
that's a surprise. So
I
anyway,
was
there should be
consulted.
plenty. And yes, I'm aware. And I appreciate the input that you gave her.
Yeah.
There was also a gift of vintage Mitsubishi posters, like dealership posters, that was a suggestion that was sent to her privately from our friend Brian. So I appreciate anybody who does that and helps her along to get me some gifts. So I have some sweet old Mitsubishi posters from the Mitsubishi anniversary when they were talking about their 1910s and 20s cars
Ooh.
and some like sepia tone dealership artwork to hang in the garage. So super cool. But anyway, so since we skipped Christmas, I just want to touch on that real fast. We can move right on to New Year's resolutions. Do you want to make some, or do you want to see how you did in last year's?
See how I did in last year's, I guess, before I
All
make
right.
some.
So for 2024, you know what? I think that we should actually make some for this year.
Okay.
Because then if it's the same that you made it for last year, then I have something more to make fun of you with.
Okay. All right.
Have you thought of any resolutions yet this year?
Well,
Automotive or podcast related? Or whatever. It could be whatever.
I mean, I bet one of them was to get the Volvo running, and that, did happen. So I haven't driven it yet, but it does run.
One of them was to get the Volvo running. Yes. You are correct. It was to get the Volvo running and to source a set of wheels for it. And I think that both of those things have been done.
Oh yeah, I did. I do have a set of wheels for it. No tires, but wheels. And I think, did I talk about like maybe driving the Talon more, or like putting the intercooler in it that I've been talking about for the last 5 years?
Yes, the Talent intercooler was on your list for 2025.
Oops. I didn't even drive that car.
Also, I made fun of you in the 2024 version of, sorry, the beginning of 2025, because it was also on your 2023 list.
Oh boy.
So you've missed that resolution now 2 years straight.
Yeah, it's been a while. I haven't. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I didn't even get to drive that car last year. I don't know why. I just didn't get to it.
You had a busy year.
I don't remember like what else I did, which is weird. But I'm like thinking, man, I drove the Galant a lot more.
Is your Galant running on speed density yet?
No, that was one of them.
And you have also failed that one.
I think maybe, did I talk about like updating the fuel system? That was the beginning of last year, or was that the year before? I'm losing track now. It's the problem when you own when you own cars for a long time.
So
you start to forget.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. That was also one that you received a ribbing for last year, because running the Galant on speed density was also a 2023 to 2024 resolution as well. So that's now also 2 years in. You did mention that you did partially update the fuel system, but you haven't gone all the way yet.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And does the Galant have a sticky brake caliper?
I think I fixed that by
good.
compressing it.
Okay.
Who knows? It's been sitting again because I haven't driven it since the end of the summer. So
you at least gave that one some attention.
I did. I didn't, because that was annoying, and I wanted to drive it more. And I had I had like a really nice weekend with that in August, driving it around. I think I talked about it. I went over the Kangamangas and somehow had no one in front of me the entire time on a Saturday morning or afternoon, which was pretty crazy.
That's unheard of.
Yeah, it was a beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon in August, and there was nobody in front of me basically the entire way. So yeah, I really should drive that car more. I didn't get much use out of the G20 either. I did no 0 track days, but discovered.
So another one of your resolutions was to do more track days.
Oh boy. Well, I figured out that the ball joints were bad, and I do have them. I have to replace them. In my defense, the silly Subarus of my mom and Stephanie both needed wheel bearings, and that took up a lot of extra time repairing those cars.
And I'm sitting here having a grand old time, giving you a hard time for missing pretty much every single resolution you talked about last year, but we haven't reviewed mine yet. So chances are pretty good I might have missed the mark too. We'll have to wait and see though. But yeah, that was basically it. Your big ones were fuel system for speed density, Talon intercooler, finish the Volvo, do more track days, and just use the cars more. Those were your goals. And I think
Yeah.
you accomplished. The Volvo's not finished, but it's close, and it's not like you wavered on that. So I'll give you that one. You did get the wheels to the Volvo. I'll give you that one. And you did use the Galant quite a bit this year. So I'll
Well,
give you 50% credit. I'd use the cars more.
yeah, and I'll tell you this. So, like, I do have once a month on Tuesdays. There's the Marblehead Cruise-In that I try to drive one of the cars to, and now doing RC drifting. The drift track's pretty close to the house, but that's a good excuse to take a car out on a Wednesday night. So,
Sure.
especially once it's
Sure.
once the
I
road
mean, and
salt
you
is
have
gone.
a very legitimate excuse of having a school age child that takes a lot of your time as well. So I
Well,
will certainly
the-
let that be
Yeah,
part of
and the
it.
issue with the Talon is I don't have a back seat, so you can't really ride in it. So everything else has back seats, and it's fine. He can totally ride in the G20 and the Galant, and he does. Which actually we probably have to get talk to Stephanie about. Probably needs a booster seat now because the seat that's we've been using is like one of the travel seats, but it's like a harness.
That convertible ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and the rest of his seats are now boosters, so which just makes it even easier because then it's just the belt. And
Yep.
so
Yeah, that's super easy. But nonetheless, that's a valid reason for not driving the Talon as much and not using the cars as much as you want to because you have family stuff to deal with. So I don't say deal with. Deal with sounds harsh. You have family stuff to do.
No. And Marco also really likes the Montero, so I end up using that a lot because he just likes the truck. So
Which at this point is also a 27-year-old car. It's a vintage vehicle. So
yeah, it
Let
was
it
a
go.
vintage vehicle 5 years ago.
no, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying it's not like you're just driving the Volkswagen everywhere. You are still using a vehicle with a bit of
Hopefully I didn't talk about the bumper. I definitely need to fix the bumper paint.
You did not talk about it, but
All
you're
right.
more than welcome to after this year. So next year I can give you a hard time for it.
Yeah, that is the thing I need to fix, the bumper paint on that. That failed. Just poor prep on my
Okay.
part. Yeah, I need to get on my. We got distracted working on the Volvo, and then we spent a ton of time fixing the Subarus. So my dad and I have not gotten to my mom's Beetle. Need to get to that and fix it, and now it won't even start.
I feel like that's the
which is
most
annoying.
important. I feel like that's the most important one because that's not for you. Your mom loves that car, so we could have her be able to use it.
Yeah.
So
We have all the brake stuff to do, full disc brake conversion, which would be nice because the drum brakes are terrible. But the problem is we went to move it like a little bit ago, and now it won't even start. So we have to figure that out.
I'm sure it's not a big deal.
But it's funny though because I did the Webers on the Volvo. Now my dad's like, "Well, if the fuel injection is bad, we're just putting Webers on it." I'm like, okay, fair.
It seems like the extreme version for that vehicle. I don't think it needs that.
I think you can do it.
My guess is it will be. Yeah, my guess is it'll be something fairly simple, and you'll be able to fix it and be able to use it like normal because that seems like a car that, especially if you're going to use it to like go up to New Hampshire and stuff, you'd probably rather have it have fuel injection.
Yeah. A lot of people don't
Or
keep
still
them, I
not.
guess, because there's no parts made for them anymore. So we'll see. We'll see what happens to it. We'll figure out why it won't start.
Yeah, I also feel like that's kind of like the old way of thinking on those cars. And now that we live in a world of like technology and 3D printing and parts sourcing from other vehicles, I feel like there's a way to keep those old fuel injected Beetles
Maybe.
still fuel injected. I feel like it's one of those things that like if you start digging into it, like yeah, the old way of thinking was take off the fuel injection and throw it in the trash. The same way that like a guy building a hot rod Camaro in '85 would take off his TPI and put a 4-barrel carburetor on it. You know what I mean? Like fear of the unknown. I feel like that's probably not the case anymore in those Beetles because there's such a high amount of them running around like California and stuff. And those cars out there need to have their factory fuel injection and emissions equipment still working to be registered. So my guess is there's something out there.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I guess so. What do I got? I gotta finish the Volvo. I guess. I mean, that's half. I half made it.
It's more than half. I mean, it's pretty much. If it wasn't for the weather, you'd probably be driving it.
Yeah, I'd probably be more motivated to work on it. It's just been super super cold, and but I mean, definitely having it running definitely makes me want to work on it more. I'm like, I don't feel as stressed out about it. Not like it was getting pretty annoying where it hasn't run yet, but now it does. So we know it at least runs. The rest is like, in my opinion, like not a big deal because it's just like weird wiring that needs to be fixed. And
It's more
you
like
know,
tinkering now than a big project.
yeah, there's just like 10 wires in that car, so it's not a big deal. The big thing is like I have sort of have the seats. I need to find the bases. I need to really work on finding the part that helps them mount in the car. Because even just sitting in it to like start it, like those seats are awful, so awful.
Terrible.
And it's not gonna be fun to
They're no
drive with
better
this.
than like the video game seat you buy at the dollar store.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's that. I'm not gonna put the Talon intercooler on here. We'll ignore that. Maybe I'll just do it anyways. But I guess the only other thing would be like just drive my car more. I'm working on it. I gotta fix the G20, the ball joints, to be able to use that again. It somehow got a sticker. I don't think it should have, but it did. So easy for me.
Nice.
But yeah, what did you have for resolutions?
So let's just cap yours real fast so we know what to review next year. So your resolutions are finish the Volvo, fix your mom's Volkswagen, and just use the cars more.
Yes.
I feel like you can hit that. I feel like you can hit that. Mostly because you've knocked off the ones off the list that you haven't completed in the past 2 years. So that's pretty good. And now you can fix those ones if you want to. So last year, what did I say? I said I was going to 100% have sold the Mercor.
Oof.
And maybe was going to have sold the 944. I was going to turn the yellow Cressida into my daily and sell the Eclipse. And I said there would be 3 cars sold this year. So it is a 100% failure rate on the car stuff because the Mercor is still here. The 944 is still here. And the Eclipse is still here. And the Cressida still does not run. You will also be happy to know, Andrew, that on the end of 23 into 24 episode,
Yeah.
I also said I was going to fix and sell the Eclipse, sell the Mercor, possibly sell the 944 and the yellow Cressida. So, it's not out of the ordinary for one of us to go more than 2 years missing everything we told ourselves we would do at the beginning of the year. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
We have failed terribly. My like catch-all resolutions last year were to go to more events. Which I would say I did that. I did a bunch of new events this year, including like Monterey. And to use the garage because at this point last year the garage was still empty because it did not have doors. So I would like to say that the garage wasn't empty, but it wasn't usable yet because I had the wrong doors. I don't remember. But I wasn't using the garage yet, and now I'm using the garage. So I did pull that one off. So that's about where we are. So I failed miserably. You didn't fail as badly as I failed. But It's gone down. The year has passed, and all 3 of those cars are here. And I didn't sell a single car. In fact, I added a car, which was not in the cards. So at least I didn't say I wasn't going to buy a car, because I would never say that, because you never know. But I did buy the Starion this year in July. So there was a car purchase this year, which is not out of the ordinary. There almost always is a car purchase at some point during the year. So anyway, so yeah, I missed everything last year too. So we're not going to. I can make fun of you all I want, but glass houses, right?
Mhm.
So nothing we can do about it now. Only move forward another year. So this year's resolutions, I'm thinking
Yep.
a little less grandeur, maybe. I am going to sell some cars this year. I have to. It's a financial issue to not, so it has to happen. So this year, I have made 2 separate resolutions, automotive related. One of which is the Mercor will be sold this year.
Okay.
Third time's a charm. 3rd year's a charm. That's going to happen. Has to happen. The 944 will now definitely be gone this year.
Okay.
This also has to happen. The Mercor has been broken for this entire year.
Yeah.
I only recently started using it again. And we'll get into project car updates later, but I have the final part came in last night. So fingers crossed that should be all done before this weekend, and I can aggressively put it on the market. I was thinking of using Haggerty's auction site there, but it seems like that is a very slow rolling event because a friend has been trying to put his car on there, and it's been going on for like 3 months now. So
Hmm.
I don't think I want to do that, but we'll see what happens. I wasn't going to use an auction site, but I'd like to just move the car on now. I haven't tricked any of my friends into buying it, so I have to actually do a real car sale, which is never fun. So that has to go 100%. So that's the big one, that there will be at least 2 cars gone, probably 3, and they really will be this year, and I'm holding myself to it. And if I don't do it, I would like everybody in the Discord to harass me until the end of time if they're not sold. The last one is I don't want to carry any long-term projects over into 2026. So any car that I have that is not running by mid-year. So let me rephrase that. Any car I have that come July is a non-running car, whether it's a car that I've had for a long time or a car that I have purchased between now and July. If it's not running in July, I have 6 months to fix it. And if it's not running by the end of the year, it's gone. I put that July date on there, so if a car breaks in November, I don't have to sell it in December. I just don't want any long-term stuff hanging over until next year. And the only caveat of this is the 2 cars in Massachusetts, because they might not be here, so I can't work on them. So, and they both run as far as I know, last time I was there at least. So I don't want to carry over any long-term projects. If it's not working, it needs to go. So as of right now, that's the 1981 Cressida, the 1980 Corolla, the 84 Starion. You think that's it, right? I think that's it. So those 3 cars right now, if they're not running by the end of the year, are just going to be sold. I'm not going to let them stick around if they're not fixed.
Okay.
So that's my goal for this year. No huge long-term projects, because it's my personal goal in life is better mental health. and having less giant broken projects hanging over my back is better for my mental health. So I think that's the big one. Come 2026, I'd like to have just improvement and maintenance projects. That's all. Nothing that needs to be done. So everything else runs. I've started everything else in the past couple of months. The Colt works, Camaro works, Mercor runs, 944 works, the 79 Cressida works, the 83 Sapporo works, and the truck works, and the Eclipse works. So right now, those are not on the chopping block. But if any of those have a catastrophic failure by July, then I only have to the end of the year to fix them, and they got to go away because no projects hanging over my head. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, fair enough.
So come July, when I've bought 7 cars that don't run, you can remind me of this. So
I might do that.
biggest one, obviously, is the Corolla because the engine's in part. I don't think the Starion should be an issue, and I still have just not. I haven't touched the yellow Cressida, save for moving it, since that trip where you were here trying to help me diagnose it, and that was what, 3 years ago.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
And the car hasn't been touched. So if I'm not going to touch it, I have to move it on. So at this point, I'll take a bit of a loss on it, but it is what it is. So I'm giving myself, this is it. This is the year. If not this year, then it's gone. So if you're in the market for a 1980 Toyota Cressida, just come hit me up a year from now because it'll probably be for sale.
There you go.
I'd like to fix it, but we'll see what happens. So that's my resolution for this year. I failed all last year's. They were the same as 23s. I failed them then. Failed them in 20. So I failed them in 23 to 24 and 24 to 25. So moving into 26, that's what we're going to do. So we also had a couple of podcast resolutions last year.
Oh boy.
We were going to have more guests. We had a couple.
We did.
Just a couple. We were going to make some merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do that.
No, we didn't.
I did mention last year that I had a giant box full of hats to sell. And I didn't sell any of those. I also talked about how I'm bad at shipping and how I owed a box of stuff that I said I was going to send to Santiago. That had been about 6 months at that point. That box is still here. So that's another full year without shipping that to Santiago. So that's cool. And we said that we were going to try to run some more forenoon events. And I don't think we did that either. So, bunch of goddamn liars. So, beginning, I said, I listened. I know why y'all listen. Now that we're a bunch of liars, I don't know anybody trusts us or listens to us. So, nope. Terrible people. So, we need to make some merch.
We do?
I need to ship this box to Santiago. I need to offer these hats up for sale.
You should.
But that's where we're at, unfortunately. I didn't, we literally 100% failure rate on everything we said. So, pretty much, save for the Volvo, which is a big project. So we'll give you good credit for that, but everything else lacked. So, anyway, on that depressing note, let's kick off 2026. We'll fix our stuff, we'll use our cars, and we'll have a good year. Because that's what I need in order for my own personal mental health this year.
All right. I mean, that sounds good to me.
Sure. I don't see why it wouldn't be. I mean, I wouldn't say 2025 was a bad year. I had a lot of people and dogs living in my house for a good chunk of the year, which is a part of my excuse for not getting things done. But that has not been an issue since June or July. So I've had 6 months to finish stuff I haven't finished, but it is what it is. That being said, we've both done a ton of stuff this year. So the failings on these are not exactly failings on us as car people. It's not like we didn't do anything. We did a ton of stuff. So that being said, what were your favorite events you've done in 2025?
Let's see, favorite events. Well, what do we do at the beginning of the year? Anything? There wasn't much because I did go to Japan. I did a lot of car stuff there. I'll just count that as one car event
Okay.
because I went and did a bunch of car stuff while we were also vacationing. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, I drove on Fuji Speedway. So yeah.
Pretty epic.
And yeah, and then it would be, let's see, there was no rally. I missed Grid Life because I was busy or something. I don't know. I did go to Watkins Glen and I saw SVG win. That was really cool.
Also pretty epic. That was your first trip to Watkins Glen or second?
That was the second time.
Okay.
I
I still have not made it.
Yeah, and what else? We went to, NASCAR New Hampshire again. Yeah, that's kind of the same. I guess that's not really a top event. It was cool when I was in Portugal. I got to go to a big car festival at the only car museum in Portugal. So that was really that Caramulo Motor Festival. That was really cool. That's definitely like if you're over in Europe or can get over there, you should definitely check that out.
And that was super neat because it was totally by chance too.
Yeah, I didn't really plan it. It just sort of happened all the time we were there. That's kind of like the biggest car events. I didn't really do anything else. Oh, the NASCAR trucks that walk at Lime Rock. That was really cool. That had never happened before.
Yeah, that's rad.
Yeah, I think that's everything. It's bad when you kind of forget because you just get so busy. But I think that was all the races I went to. I didn't do any IMSA races because we were planning a big trip to Japan, so I didn't do any early IMSA races. Didn't go to Daytona. I didn't go to Indy 500. That was the year before. And then I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I did. Marco and I went to see Hot Wheels Monster Trucks, and that was kind of like not very good, but whatever. It was for children. It wasn't meant for me.
Why is this children's movie not entertaining to me as an adult?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. That's kind of like it. It actually wasn't a lot of events because that's the thing. They don't do IMSA at Lime Rock anymore. I really need to get to. I keep saying this every year. I really need to get to Watkins Glen for an IMSA race. I'd love to get out to Long Beach and see IMSA, and I'd be really interested to see Formula D now. I mean, I was before, and then I would like to see, IMSA at Laguna Seca. And I was pretty jealous that you went to Car Week. I got to figure out if I can get out there at some point.
You have a spot because I just reserved I have my own camp spot this year.
I know we've got we do have plans. We're going to San Diego for the NASCAR race.
NASCAR street race. Yep.
That's a regret I do have. I didn't make the time to get to the Chicago race, but also I was talking to Stephanie about this the other day. I said, yeah, it's kind of like they were having it like at an awkward weekend if you're not local to Chicago. Like I don't want to get on a plane and travel for 4th of July. Like I like being home for 4th of July. It's just an easy holiday to be at home, right? So, but they're not doing that anymore. So they're going to do it in San Diego at the Navy base, right?
Coronado, adjacent to, basically. Yeah, it's Coronado Island.
It's on the base.
Partially on the base, partially off the base
Yeah.
is what I've heard. Yeah.
So, we've got seats that overlook the bay. I figured that would be. It overlooks the chicane and the bay. I figured we want to look at the water.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
When the cars aren't going by. So yeah, that'll be really cool. Yeah. So what were your favorite events?
Well, you mentioned one. I made it to Monterey for the first time ever,
Mm-hmm.
which was wild. And I do have my camping spot now secured for this coming year. So pretty stoked on that. I do know you don't like camping because you like sleeping on the ground, but we do have a spare cot. If you do want to come, you can borrow the cot for sure. Let's see. One of the craziest things I did this year, event-wise, was I rode as a passenger in the heavy sweep vehicle for the Prescott Rally, and that was super rad. We didn't have to tow anything, but just to be in the event was pretty neat. Especially the fact that we did sweep in a Lamborghini LM002 also was really cool. So that was probably one of my favorite events of the year, just because it was so ridiculous over the top. Let's see, what else event-wise? Those were the two really, really big ones. I did a bunch of off-roading in my truck, which is something I haven't done in a very long time because I never had a truck. But now that I have a truck, that's been a thing. Did some camping trips in the truck. Had a really good time with that. That's really been it for big events. I guess I should shout out my own event. We ran the second annual now Arizona Rising Sun Rally, and I was nervous that it would not be as good as the first, and it was every bit as good as the first. So it was an absolutely perfect event again. So that will happen again in 2026. Another thing that if you were trying to find a week to come out here and hang out would be a good one too. So there's that. What else? I think that's mainly it. I'm doing a quick little scroll through here in my pictures to see what other events I did, but nothing else really stands out as a crazy event. There were a bunch of car shows, a bunch of cool stuff. Nothing as big as Monterey or doing the rally or just some of the off-road trips that were good this year. So it was interesting because last year we talked about the fact that it was the first year neither one of us had been to a Radwood at all, and continued that trend in 25. Never went to a Radwood. So I was going to go to the LA event, but they changed the weekend. It used to be in November, and they ran it this year in October, and it wound up being the same weekend as the Arizona Rising Sun Rally. So obviously, I was not going to plan an entire event and then skip my own event to go to a different event. So I did not go to Radwood in LA again this year. So that's been 2 years since I've been to a Radwood event. I have not been to one since August of 23 when they had it here in Phoenix. So still kind of wild about that. But yeah, I just continuing to do all the events I can as far as like little cars and coffees and little car events and trying to get together with local friends and do small little drives. And we've had a couple of coffee run nights and try to keep that going. And I think it's going to continue to be more small things like that with a big event now and again peppered in, which is probably the best way to do it. I don't have many big events planned for this year, save for the NASCAR street race in California, Monterey again, and my rally. So that's pretty good number of things, I think. So yeah, those are my big events. So anything else to round out the year with, Andrew?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Oh, I muted myself because the dog was barking. Sorry. How many downloads this year, Andrew? Do you have that stat this year?
I do have stats. Let's see.
Curious of the growth or shrinkage of the podcast listening base. We had
Well, I
less
don't have year
episodes
over
this
year.
year. We missed a
We're not
few.
we're not doing corporate metrics here. We're not about that.
Sure. I'm just more curious.
Just
I know what last year's number was. That's why
oh,
we
okay.
talked about it last year at the end
So
of the
hold
year.
on. I
So
have
if it's a
the
lower
right-
number, you got to pump those numbers up.
It will be a lower number. It's down a lot. 4.4 thousand downloads. I don't know why that's it's, so 4,400 probably.
Yep. That is less than half.
Yep, down 58%.
Sweet. All right. Well, podcasting is for closers, so we're out.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Not that I care.
Listen,
we don't
we
make
talked
money
about
off of
we
this.
talked about it last year. We're not chasing numbers. Every year, more and more podcasts come out. More and more people are listening to podcasts, but also there's more to choose from. And as we talked about last year, our podcast is a niche within a niche, right? We talk about classic cars, but we also talk about obscure classic cars. So we're the only podcast you'll ever hear mentioned an Isuzu Stylus or a Dodge Colt or an Infiniti G20. So if you're into those kinds of cars, that's why you're here. If you're into Porsches and Ferraris and Lamborghinis and supercars and hypercars and Formula One, you'll find content elsewhere. But it is what it is. I'm not worried about it.
If I do it,
Your core group is here.
if I do it the last 2 years, it's much more impressive. It's 15,000 downloads. Still, top episode is from May of 2024. Is the Let Old Cars Be Old. So that's out of the last 2 years. That's the top episode.
It's all about hitting taglines.
Yeah, for last year. the
Also
top
trademark, because I have a T-shirt design with that T-shirt with that logo on it. For our merch that we're gonna make sometime.
Yeah, the last top episode we've got is the Volvo Gets Pistons. That's for this year. Yeah, we kind of dropped off quite a bit. I don't know what
We
happened.
took off a lot because we don't have guests.
We don't
we haven't
post
been
regularly all
consistent.
the time. We haven't been.
Yep. We need to be more consistent, and we need to have some more guests.
The problem is you're
And,
fighting now, even just looking at my current podcast feed. It's like people will release a podcast, but then it'll be like 10 or 15 minutes long. And they release like one every day.
Yeah.
And that really juices your numbers. And now people are releasing AI podcasts, right? So they're like,
Yeah.
it's an uphill battle. And we're not in this for the money. I don't really care.
Well,
So
last
if you're-
year we started the year by complaining about celebrity podcasts. So I'd rather have celebrity podcasts than AI podcasts.
That is another
So-
problem. You've got just celebrities getting into it and corporations getting into it. And, that's what it is. We are a small independent podcast. And we don't charge anything. Like we said, you can listen to us for free. We don't even have ads.
We won't even sell you a T-shirt, even though we keep saying we're going to.
Yeah. We really should do that. That should definitely be something that we need to look into. It would be nice having some merch. And like I've said before, the easiest way we'll probably do that is through the Discord, because it's easier just to have people say, I would like a large. I'd like an
Yeah.
extra large. And you just order what people need, and we don't have to spend money on extras. And that's probably the way we just do it.
I have more experience now in this than last year because I did handle T-shirt stuff for the rally. So
Okay.
if we do have a couple of designs you want to put out, we can put out a page on our website and have direct people there to say what they want, and I can get those particular ones ordered. Everybody put in their order, in advance, and I can have the shop that made my shirts for the rally make shirts again. So I do have experience with that now. So this is a off-air topic we'll get back into later for sure.
Yeah. This is probably why people don't
There's-
listen anymore, because they just don't. But anyway.
I can't believe Santiago still listens. A year and a half waiting for one box of stuff I said I was going to give him. Jeez,
Now it's just become a
it's
joke.
wild. At this
Well,
point, yeah.
So yeah, well, that's interesting. But we do have we had most of the downloads, of course, in the United States, 3,800, almost 3,900.
Yeah.
We had a few Canadians, some Germans coming in third place. United Kingdom in fourth. Surprisingly, Singapore is in sixth.
Singapore made the list last year, and Turkey was a big one last year too.
No, Turkey's not there now.
Makes me wonder if there's some sort of like people using a VPN or something.
Maybe
Could make that number skewed to weird places.
a few in
But
Japan.
anyway, yeah. So again,
Maybe
we
that's for
don't
my
care
trip.
necessarily. Yeah, right. We don't care necessarily about the numbers overall, but it would be nice to have a little more consistency out of us for our listeners, the ones who do stick around, and the ones who do message us every Friday. There's not an episode, and wonder where we are, wonder where we've been. So we also haven't been posting much on Instagram, on both our personal accounts and our podcast accounts. I've noticed a big fall off on that on my end of things. So I think it's just been a tiring year. So I think you try to be a little less run down by things in 26.
To be
and
fair,
try to be a little more positive about some stuff. So
yeah, I mean,
What's
a
that?
lot of people are burned out on social
Yeah.
media. So
Yep.
that's kind of where that comes
So-
from.
Anyway, moving on from this depressing note of the state of things in the podcast and independent media world. Get any project car updates, Andrew? I think you got a big one.
Yeah, I do. Sorry, I'm playing with my headphones. Yeah, the Volvo runs.
Which we now know because you said it before in your New Year's resolution, but that is incredibly huge news. And I am beyond the moon excited for you and cannot wait for the next time I'm out there and the weather is good to take a ride in the car.
Yeah. So my dad and I and fellow listener and former guest, Chapel, who lives nearby, we worked on it a couple days in a row and like 2 weeks before Christmas, and got it to fire up and broke the cam in, and it runs decently. It definitely needs jetting and tuning, but so far there was no well, I shouldn't say there was no leaks. As soon as I filled it up with coolant, it started to leak out of the water pump, and that was like a bit disappointing. I was like, and I thought for sure that we weren't gonna get it running that weekend, but luckily, it's kind of weird the way the water pumps are on these old Volvo engines. It just mashes up to the bottom of the head in the front and has two O-rings, and the two O-rings are only located by a groove in the water pump. They don't have a matching groove in the head. It's literally just a flat surface on the head. So you have to when I put it on the engine stand, I didn't put it up tight enough to the head. So luckily we were able to just loosen the bolts a little bit and pry it up and retighten it, and it's sealed. So it stopped leaking.
That is a win for sure.
So that was a little bit nerve-wracking at first, and that it took a few tries to get the fuel system primed. We're just running it off a gas can because I need to drain the tank in it still. And once we kind of got that dialed and the pressure set, we were able to get it to run. But the timing was very retarded. And even though it looks like as best as I can tell, we set the distributor up properly and set the oil pump drive up properly where the distributor matches into, and the distributor was pointing at the number 3 cylinder like everybody says for timing, but it just and then the adjustment of the distributor was interfering because there's a little oiler button on the distributor that was hitting the block if we turned it too far, and then the other way the vacuum diaphragm was hitting. So basically, we took it out, flipped it 180, readjusted where the cap was, the number one cylinder, and then we were able to adjust the timing enough, and it was running. So it's a thing a term or a phrase I recently like was made aware of. Somebody sent it was a link to like a Haggerty article that talked about it, and then it actually. I have a confession. I've been watching Roadkill Garage lately. It came up there. Steve Bullshit said it. You just kind of gotta. Sometimes you just gotta give the car what it wants. If it, even though it's supposed to be set up this way, but it's not working, but it works the other way. That's just
Right.
what it is. It's the car wants it. Just give it the car. Just give the car what it wants.
That's a pretty big revelation that you've been watching Roadkill Garage, because you've been so anti that the entire time I've been trying to push it. So
I feel like I was definitely not into Roadkill. I'm more into Roadkill Garage.
I bet if you went back and watched certain episodes, so not early Roadkill, but later on, they're very similar. In fact, there are many Roadkill episodes that are in the same garage as Roadkill Garage. So,
Yeah, it seemed like they were just like, we're just doing these all different episodes, but they're all doing them in the same place. It's all the same people. So
it's mostly all the same people, yeah, and there's different guests for different things, and yeah, there's some good stuff out there, and I'm glad that you're watching it. What is your favorite Roadkill Garage project car you've seen so far?
I mean, the crop duster came out really pretty at the end.
Yeah. Yep.
And I liked the, not to get out, well, yeah, we'll get off topic here. I liked the Belvedere, was it Belvedere? Roadrunner clone? So they took the Roadrunner that was wrapped around a telephone pole and then dropped it into a.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The seat, they call it a C body
Yeah.
because it was turned into a C. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that one was super cool. It was like a green car. They swapped everything into, I think, right?
Yeah. It was a good way to, I mean, otherwise that Roadrunner was trashed. Like there's no
Sure.
saving it.
Yep.
So putting it into that other car and just making a clone with it was perfect.
There was an episode of Roadkill where they purchased that wrapped around a pole.
Yeah, they talked
Roadrunner.
about it.
Yeah, and got it running and drove it laps around a racetrack with it. It was very entertaining. So, but yeah, no, I love those guys. I love the way they build cars. I love the fact that they're just about making it fun, making it work, and making it usable, and not like concerned as much about making it perfect. And just like the fact that the aesthetics just come along with the build as it goes. So,
Well, the other thing that people would talk about before when I was doing stuff and making videos and doing those type of things was that they do show the struggle. There's a lot of TV shows that don't show the struggles that you have, and they show the struggle. So
Yeah.
it's relatable,
yeah,
right?
they'll show them do the whole project, go out and drive the car, and something immediately breaks, and they won't like edit that out. They'll drag it back to the garage and fix it again, which is like real life stuff for sure.
Or it'll
So-
just be like, yeah, this isn't working right now. We're just gonna cut and we're gonna figure it out. And when we come back, we'll explain to you what we did.
Yep.
And it's like, I feel that. There was
Yeah,
times when we
100%.
were trying to make videos and work on stuff, and it'd just be like, can we just cut the cameras right now so we can just like figure out what's going on here? When we come back, we'll do it. We'll do it on camera afterwards when we figure it out. We'll explain what we did.
100%. Well, I'm glad you're in. The crop duster is also one of my favorite cars they built. There's also a red duster they did more recently.
Well, what was his? Was it like a 71 Roadrunner?
Which one? There's a
72
bunch of them.
Challenger, the red one that it was actually once they polished it, like they cut and buffed it, it was like a really nice car.
That was a Roadrunner, like a 72 or 73, I
Yeah,
think.
that's a
But
good
there was
looking
another
car.
duster. There's another duster they did. I don't know if you caught that far yet. It's in the later episodes. They bought it with a barely running slant six and drove it from where they bought it back to Dulcich's farm and swapped in a 383 or a 380. I don't remember, probably a 383. And it's still ratty, but it's super cool. They just actually listed it for sale, but unfortunately, it's well out of my budget. So
All the muscle
I won't
trucks
be
are
buying
cool.
it. Yep.
But-
Yeah, they're all cool. The Dodge truck, the Chevy truck, they're all super rad. They just, again, I've always liked it. There's no secret there. We've always disagreed with that. So
Well,
I'm glad to hear you're at least watching some of the content that
I'll-
I promoted in the past.
I'll tell you this. It makes me feel a little better about the Volvo and the fact that I put a really nice engine in to a car that's like
Yep.
meh, like looks
Yep.
meh,
100%.
right? Like they'd put some really nice engines into some cars that are like, eh, but
Yeah.
they really aren't that bad. They just like don't look great. But like they're
And
like,
that's what's cool about it. I'm building a completely fresh motor for my radial Corolla. Like I'm fine with it. It's gonna have fresh motor and fresh suspension, and the rest of it just looks like a 50-year-old Corolla. So
which is
45-year-old
fine
Corolla.
because like
Yeah.
they said, like the cars look good from a certain distance, and then but you can actually drive them and use them because once you start
It
painting stuff and
gives
making
the
it look
car
super, super nice,
personality. Yeah.
you don't want to use it. So, but yeah. So yeah, we got it running. It runs decent. It definitely just needs adjustments now. It needs to probably be, uh, another friend of ours, commented on my Instagram post about it. He's got a couple cars that have dual Webers. He said that they seem to like a little more timing at idle. So I'm going to adjust the timing up a little bit from like 10 degrees to like 12. I've got sitting next to me on my desk here, I have new jets for it and new chokes. Because it's not like a race engine. It just has nice carburetors on it. It's basically just a stock engine. So I think
Sure.
the chokes that come in there, which are basically the Venturis, sort of. It's basically your Webers are funny because they call these things chokes, because they really just like choke down the barrel that's inside.
Restrictor plate racing.
Basically, but what comes in the ones that are in, I think what's in there right now, I have these all written. They're either 30 or 31 millimeter. So these are DCOE 40s. So the total barrel diameter could be up to 40, which would be crazy huge if you had a full race engine. You'd want a ton of air at high RPM. So you'd put the full bore in there. But for a street car, you don't want that. You actually want to choke it down. And I'm actually going to go to like 28s because two things: you'll get less air and more velocity for the air. So hopefully they'll make better vacuum and better torque for driving around town. So, and then I have some jets to hopefully help adjust with that. So unfortunately, this stuff is expensive to get into the country now, but it is what it is. It's interesting because they have like online calculators, and they've kind of been updated over the last year. I was like kind of keeping track. I had like screenshots of what I did like earlier in the year, and then recently, and they like updated the calculator to compensate for alcohol and fuel. So like I kind of looked at what the suggested one was. I looked at what I had, what came in the carburetors, and then I looked at what the original setup sheets for Volvo B20 were, and sort of picked some jets, kind of guesstimated based on those things, kind of, erring on the more conservative side of performance because the engine is not like, doesn't have a ported head, doesn't have oversized valves or anything, don't have an aggressive
Sure.
cam. It's the original cam.
You just want to make sure it's not too lean or too rich.
It's the original style cam. Yeah, and the O2 sensor, the wideband O2, will help. That actually works really great. That, once we had the car running, that was not inexpensive. Maybe I talked about that unit being like about $300, but it connects perfectly to your phone via Bluetooth, and the refresh rate seemed really fast, and it seemed very accurate, and it was right on your phone showing it. So you could do like I think it data logs. I need to double check, but you could also just do a screen recording while you're running it if you really want to go back and look on your phone. So though that is a really cool thing. I really recommend that for like carb cars that you want to do tuning on. It's
And $300 is a lot less than building a new motor.
It's Performance Electronics wideband. So I would definitely look into one of those. that's definitely something you can add to your Corolla build before you're ready to
I
get it
I
going.
intend on it.
It was easy to put, you just weld it into the header, and yeah, you give it 12 volts with ignition on, and it just automatically turns on and sends out the Bluetooth signal, and it connected so fast. It was great. So that'll be a help for tuning. Um, of course, we've also got the little vacuum thing you use for Webers. That was helpful, but really it's just we got to play with the adjustment of the throttle butterflies to make sure they're all synced, and then play with the idle screws. Because the big thing with Webers is you do most of the tuning with the progression holes. They say like it's like 90% of Webers is at idle through mid-range is what those idle jets will do. So once you kind of get those, everything else kind of falls in line. And then the thing with Webers is once they're kind of tuned, they really don't go out of tune very easily. They'll usually hold their tune really well. So
There's not a lot of parts that move that are adjustable because it's all like hard parts, right?
yeah, and the cool thing is you're basically it's a carburetor per cylinder because there's dual. So each cylinder gets its own little. There's basically two carburetors inside each Weber. So I've got 4 carburetors. So unfortunately, that makes it expensive. I had to buy 4 sets of jets. No, 4 jets, 2 for each carburetor, not 4 sets, and 2 jokes for each carburetor. So, but yeah, that's. And then the other thing will be with that car is fixing the rest of the wiring. So all the wiring in the front of the car has been fixed, except for, all the broken wires have been fixed. Everything works. Everything lights up. The headlights are being funny. They're kind of on all the time. And I don't think that has anything to do with the LED conversion. Those are actually really nice parts. Those maybe I talked about installing those, but lighten them up. They're really, really nice. They fit really well. I highly recommend getting one of those kits. But what happens is you turn the ignition on and the low beams are on, and then you turn it to start and it switches to high beams without touching anything else. So that's a little funky. We got to figure that out. And there are no brake lights either. So you have running lights, but no brake lights. And then there's a bunch of loose wires in the cabin that I need to figure out. And I also have, maybe I talked about it, I have the fuse block panel I need to switch out for regular bladed fuses to get rid of the old ceramic fuses. I think we talked about
You
this
talked about
before.
that. Yep.
But that's really the next big thing. And what we'll probably do, I probably won't do a lot of tuning or trying to get it running right now because it's so cold out. And even though the garage is heated, you have to open up all the doors because you can't be running the thing inside.
Well, you're also not going to be driving the car in this weather.
Exactly. You want to kind of tune it in more of springish to summer weather when you're actually going to be driving it.
For sure.
So, I'll probably maybe swap the parts over. We'll see. But I'm going to focus on the next time I go to work on it. We'll just be cleaning up the wiring and try to figure out what's going on with those lights so it's all ready to go. And then maybe I'll probably even wait till it's a little bit warmer out and bleed the brakes and flush the gas tank. But yeah, that's other than that, it's having it running is absolutely we've talked about this before. It's absolutely motivation to work on it more because there's no, it runs. And this again,
Right.
and it's funny because I'm watching this roadkill show. I'm like, this is kind of the way I've always done cars. I didn't really feel like I feel like I didn't get this idea from watching Roadkill. I'm like, this is just kind of the way our philosophy has always been for working on cars, you kind of just get them running, and then you can figure them out after. Maybe that's why it resonated with you so much and why you liked watching it. And I guess I'm
It's
late to
why
the
I liked
party.
it. It's always just been. It reminds me of what we do. They don't go crazy on everything else until the car functions, and the first thing they do in every car is power wash it. So it's like it's
Yes,
literally
you
the
guys give me a hard
order
time
of.
about cleaning
I don't
stuff
give you a
before
hard
working on
time.
it.
I don't give you a hard
In
time.
the Discord.
I do the same thing you do. Yes, the Discord does for sure. So, but I always clean things before working on them. It's much nicer to work on something that's clean than it is to work on something that's also dirty. Like, why not clean it first? That's why I spent like 20 plus hours cleaning the interior of that Starion before I even like dug into what was wrong with it, because I wanted to see what I was working with. I wanted to scrub under the hood, scrub the interior, clean up any spiders that were in it or any of that kind of stuff. And I now have the car up in the air and crawling around underneath it, and it's superbly clean under there. It's like, it's so nice to work on a clean car. Crawl around the car and I don't get greasy and dirty and grimy and covered in years of mud. So, always clean the cars. Speaking of
Yep.
my project car stuff, I
What do
don't
you say?
know. I talked about pulling the tank out, I'm pretty sure, but they also might have been on the Lost episode.
I think it
So
was.
I'll do a quick coverage of it. I pulled the tank out of the car. We initially had thought there were 2 holes in the tank and it was leaking onto the ground and it was empty. Got the car jacked up. I don't remember if I told this or not, so bear with me if I did. I'm just going to go over it quickly. Jacked the car up, looked a little closer at it, realized there were no holes in the tank, but yet it was still dripping on the ground from what looked like 2 holes in the tank. What had happened was the tank was full, like completely full, like over full. And as it sat for as long as it sat, gasoline expands and contracts, I guess. I don't know the specifics of it, but I know the fumes and the vapors make things like you put a gas can outside and it blows up, like not blows up, but like expands. So the fuel somehow moves around inside the tank and it wound up underneath the sending unit and it seeped out around the very hardened old rubber seal and ran down the side of the tank, and it pooled in 2 places that hold the undercoat off the tank, and it looked like a perfectly square pickaxe hole. Well, it wasn't. It was just the undercoat and the fuel leaking from the top of the tank. So obviously, I realized this when I'm under the car trying to take the tank out, and then realizing the tank has got like 12 gallons of fuel in it. So that became a little bit more of a job than I was anticipating. But thankfully, a good friend of mine, Chris, probably know him on Instagram as Angry Bird GTI, came over here. He lives in the neighborhood and helped me wrangle the tank out of the car full of fuel. Got it on the ground and drained the tank with a siphon pump. And into multiple 5-gallon buckets because there was a lot of fuel in it. Very old fuel, but it was in there. And the good news is that the inside of the tank, other than having a bunch of like gunk on all the baffles and everything, is in really good condition. There's no rust, there's no issues, there's no problems, there's no holes. I do not need a tank. So I'm able to just clean that tank, probably recoat the undercoating where it's damaged, put some new seals on the sending unit so it doesn't leak out anymore, and then just reinstall that tank back into the car. So that seems to be the plan. Before I do that, I'm going to upgrade a couple of things in the fuel system because I've been doing a bunch of research, and there is a company now that sells a ECU for the Starion that's basically a plug-and-play unit that allows you to tune the fuel in the engine based on parameters that are tuned through, I forget the name of the software, but it's one of the more regularly used tuning softwares. Because the ECU in the Starion only controls fuel, doesn't control anything else. So you're able to modify it pretty simply with this little kit. But I do want to put a nicer fuel pump in than just a factory pump. And it looks like there's a company that makes a drop-in hanger for the tank. And I can put like a Bosch 040 is the pump to use now, it looks like. that will flow enough for what I want to do and make the car future proof, so I don't ever have to pull the tank out again. Is the hope. So that's going to be the big upgrade on that one. But that's where it stands right now. It's still up on jack stands. Tank is still out of it. I need to finish cleaning the tank. The holidays came, and then stuff got moved around because we host Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve here. So stuff was kind of pushed around in different places. Now getting back into everything now that we're all cleaned up from all the holidays and can get back into working on stuff pretty heavily. So theoretically, that car should run not too long from now. And then obviously once I have it running, I will look into making modifications to the car because I have big plans for that car. So we can do a whole episode just on that car alone, I think, based on all the parts that are available now. But that first step is going to be that ECU. And that same company that makes that ECU also does a distributorless ignition for the car that uses coil packs. So that once you have the distributorless ignition, it runs on a like Hall effect style sensor on the crank. So it kind of also makes that tunable with that same software. So basically it takes this old 2.6 and makes it a modern running engine, sort of. So that's hopefully the plan. Make it deadpan reliable and more power. So that's coming up next in that car. Other project car updates. The Mercor has a door handle that was broken for a while. I also took apart the speedometer cable to find out what the situation was with why I had no speedometer or odometer. It worked for most of the time I had the car. It broke about a year ago, and I have not driven the car much because I don't want to put a bunch of miles on without the odometer because it is not a total mileage TMU car, not total mileage unknown. I'd like to keep it as an accurate mileage car. So, a couple of things. It's an 89, and 89 Mercor XR4TIs with the 5-speed are supposed to have a box in the firewall that has a little 8-inch cable that runs from that box to the speedometer, and the other cable runs from the other side of that box down to the transmission, and inside that box is the speed sensor for the cruise control. My car's never had functioning cruise control. I've never looked into it to find out why, because I never really cared that much. But in doing digging and taking this car apart, which, by the way, taking apart a 1989 Mercor, interior pieces are basically made out of very thin glass. Almost impossible. Thankfully, I got everything apart without breaking anything. Putting it back together, though, I am nervous. So we'll see what happens. But the cable in my car does not have that speed sensor box, and it is one cable that is 108.5 inches long that goes from the back of the speedometer directly into the gearbox with nothing in between. So it's like, what happened here? Digging into it a little bit more, it looks like the car might have been converted at some point from an automatic car to a manual car, which not a big deal. It's done well enough that I never noticed till now, but it just means it will never have functioning cruise control. So, I couldn't find a cable locally. The way this cable is set up, it has the standard like spring-like speedometer cable inside the rubber sheath, and then it has an end that clips into the back of the cluster and an end that plugs into the transmission with square ends on either end. Didn't find the correct one. I eventually did find the correct one, and the only car part that matches this that I've been able to find is Ford Sierra RS500, which is the hot rod version of the Sierra of the Mercor XR4TI, available only in Europe and like a 6-figure car nowadays. So I was a little bit lost as to why that was the right part, but then also my car has RS500 headlights, and it has an RS500 hood vents that I have brand new in a box. So at some point, somebody bought RS500 parts for it, and maybe when they did the transmission conversion, maybe that's what the part came out of. Who knows? But I was able to find thanks to Patrick in our Discord, helped me, I think it was Patrick, helped me find a universal part that will fit inside the original sheath that I have. And then one end has a square end on it, and the other end has a little adapter you put on that you crimp into place, and it turns it into a square end on the other end, and you cut it to length. So I can cut the thing to be 108.5 inches, fit inside the factory rubber sheath, and work as intended. So I have the whole car apart. I just got that part late last night. It came here delivered at 8 p.m. So oddly enough. So hopefully by this weekend, I'll have that car all back together. And as far as I know, that's the final step before I put the car up for sale. So if you're looking for a 1989 Mercor that has 88,000 miles on it, and at one point was an automatic, I think, but it's now a manual and done well enough that it works just fine. That car after this should be fully sorted. It won't need anything. I mean, other than cruise control, it won't need anything, and it'll be for sale. So hit me up on that one. So that's that project. The Corolla hasn't gone anywhere. The engine's still sitting here in my garage. I have not brought it to the machine shop yet. Again, holidays, that whole thing, work, machine shop's only open during work hours. It's just been a whole thing. I need to get that down there. Hopefully this week I can go into work early one day so I can get out a little earlier and maybe take a ride to the machine shop. So that's the plan for that one. And let's see. Oh, the other thing I've been working on is the Dodge Ram Power Ram 50, or the Mitsubishi Mighty Max 4x4. If you are a regular listener, you'll remember that our friend in Nebraska found a fender local to me that had the factory stripe package on it. Also a straight bumper, also a straight valance panel, and hit me with the address of where it was. I went over there immediately and purchased everything. I think I told the story on the podcast about that when Naomi and I made a whole weekend out of it. Finally, this weekend, I hung that fender on the car. And I can't even believe how perfectly the stripes match up. So there must have been some kind of template when they put these stripes on, because it's my understanding that these stripes were not factory installed, but port installed package or dealer installed package. So the fact that they line up perfectly is shocking, but also amazing. So the new fender is on the truck, and it looks like there was never ever a problem.
Yeah.
So it's that's like a once in a lifetime find to find a fender you can just bolt on that has all the right stripes, all the right matching, in the right color
So
on a 40-year-old truck.
correct me, right? That truck entirely happened this past year, right?
I picked the truck up in September of 24.
Okay.
Didn't start working on it until December and finished it in January.
All right.
So it was December to January to get the car running again.
I would
And
say,
I've just been using it all year.
yeah, that truck was our best win. I'll take credit for it too. Our best win in 25.
Yeah, actually, last time you were here, I think I had it, but it wasn't running yet.
No, it was gross and under your tree that drops all the stuff and birds live in.
Right. But I'd already cleaned out under the hood and stuff. You saw it after I had discovered everything I needed to discover, but hadn't started working that yet, I don't think. So, but yeah, I started working that in December. We went away for a 10-day trip in January, which, as much as I loved the trip, all I wanted to do was go home and work on the truck. Because I had it just running when we left, I think, but not driving yet. I came back, I got it driving. There were 2 setbacks. It's come home on a tow truck twice. Both of them fuel related. The first one was when the original mechanical fuel pump gave up the ghost. And the second one was when the electronic fuel pump that I added to replace the mechanical fuel pump failed after 2 months. And I replaced that with another one of those fuel pumps because it was warrantied. But at the same time, I purchased another style of electric fuel pump that's been recommended by like 100 different people. And I put that in the glove box. And I put a little couple lengths of wiring and a cheap set of crimpers and ends in the glove box. So that if it ever happens again, if that other one fails again, at least I have a replacement ready to go. So hopefully it won't go home on a tow truck again. But yeah, that truck's been 2025 was definitely the year of the Mighty Max pickup. So, and I added the cap this year too. So, and it got a windshield this year. All kinds of stuff this year. It went to the Big Williams show, which is my favorite weekend of the year locally, but it's 7,000 foot of elevation climbing, and did that with all our camping gear. So it's been a good year for that truck. It took a lot of my energy at the beginning of the year, but it was fully worth it because it's gone all over the state, done a bunch of off-roading, a bunch of camping. It's been a good time. So now next time you come out here, we'll have to take the truck off-roading so you can experience the no longer languishing under a tree covered in bird crap moment to an actually functional vehicle. So hopefully it'll be 100% done by then because I'm still looking to do still needs radio and some interior work and need some minor stuff, but it runs and drives, and I drive it all the time. So it's kind of been, I won't call it my daily because the Eclipse is my daily, but it's kind of been used a lot. So, and then the final project car update/down date is the Eclipse. I failed emissions. First time in my life ever failing emissions. So I don't know what to do.
Uh-oh.
What I've seen a couple of places, my NOx is too high by almost double, which is interesting because the whole top end of the motor is fresh. It's been recently gone through. Everything else seems fine. And last year, or 2 years ago, last time it went through emissions, it passed with flying colors, like wasn't even close to failing. And this year it's more than double the normal. So there's a couple of things that people have suggested that I look into. I just haven't had a chance. I actually had to do an emissions repair on a family member's 05 Lancer this weekend. I put a catalytic converter in. I shouldn't say I did it. I supervised as I taught him how to do it. And he did a wonderful job, so good on him. But I got a little greasy a couple times, but overall it was all him. But anyway, speaking to my friend Josh, who has had many Mitsubishis that have failed emissions, and he said to go to the parts store and buy 2 bottles of Heat, which is the basically gas antifreeze, but it's also like an alcohol product and a water remover. And that supposedly should clean enough of the fuel burning to burn off the NOx. So I did that. I went to AutoZone, bought 2 bottles of the yellow Heat, put it in the tank, drove it about 60 miles all on the highway to get the cats up to temp. Went back to emissions. So it's parts per million, I think. It's 4.5 is what it's at. It has to be at 2.5. Sorry, way around. No, it's it. It has to be at 2.5 and it's at 4.5. So I did all that, drove it like 60 miles, went back, ran it again, and it went from 4.5 to 4.2, but still well above acceptable. So it did something, just didn't do enough. So I have to check timing, make sure the timing is set, make sure maybe we didn't screw something up terribly. The timing is way advanced because that can also cause NOx to be up, I guess. And then the third step is to check the EGR system and make sure it's fully functional and cleaned out. So I haven't got there yet, but all that's happened is I've failed. I tried the quick, easy method of putting alcohol in the tank and hopefully sneaking through, but it did not work. So we shall see. It's frustrating because the car is now not registered, and I can't register it until it passes emissions. So for my project cars, that's the quick overview of what we've missed in the past month, which actually is a pretty lot. It's a good amount of stuff. It's been busy around here. All that with the holidays. So, and tons of RC car stuff, and that's really the big 2026 thing. Andrew, is going to be our like continued foray into RC cars.
I'm well down the rabbit hole here of RC
Listen,
drifting.
I started 2025 with no RC cars purchased in a very, very long time. By the end of 25, there were 4 new RC cars here.
Yeah.
So
I've been playing with and tuning my Yokomo chassis.
Yep.
Just doing small stuff here and there. The first mod was an alignment rack for an RC car, which
I
will
saw
work
that.
with
Very cool.
all the RC cars, all the touring
Yep.
cars.
It's on my list. Even the
Yeah,
buggies
because
need
you
it.
basically you want to be able to set the alignment. A lot of people do it by eyeball and by feel, but I'm like, I kind of want to know what the numbers are, so I know it's even. And then I started actually writing notes down on it and how it drives in an attempt to try to make it drive better. I'm trying to do my plan with this Yokomo chassis. They're basically all plastic. And I don't want to change any parts that come on it stock. I want to see how far I can go with it and how well I can drive it as an out of the box RD20. So that's my
Most
goal.
people say that that's entirely possible with that car, and the only thing people wind up playing with is the electronics and shock absorbers.
Yep. I'll use the shocks until they blow out.
Yeah.
And basically just start leaking. And I have decent electronics in it. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how far I can push it and if I can get good enough driving to maybe do a competition with it. So,
I mean, that's the goal, right?
yeah,
With anything is to get good at it, enjoy it. As long as you're enjoying it, who cares?
I think, I was like, I don't know about competing, but I mean, like I could probably try to compete because it's not like this isn't like a physical thing so much. Like I don't have to run really fast or be in super good shape.
That's a
It's
more
just
skill than dollars thing. Like you have to actually know what you're doing.
yeah,
Whereas like the RC racing was always a dollars game. Like, oh, this guy's got $2,000 wrapped up in motors and batteries, so obviously he's going to win every time.
yeah. And people have some ridiculous chassis, but it's more about how well you can drive them. And it would be
That's what I'm
pretty
saying. You can,
fun to push this stock car as far as I can, just to say I did it. I'm kind of looking at it. I'm like, it's not worth it. In my mind, the way I'm looking at it now, I'm like, the amount of money mods cost or hop up parts, I'm like, it's not worth. I'll just keep driving it the way it is. And if I want a better chassis, Yokomo sells a next version up that comes with all the aluminum parts.
all those parts already. Yeah.
It's a better deal than buying them all piecemeal. Like
Yep.
just
The
run the entry
expensive
level.
stuff.
Yeah.
The expensive stuff really is electronics anyway. So
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, which I could just transfer and just hang the chassis on the wall when I'm done.
build a show body for it and put it on the shelf.
Yeah, exactly. But for fun stuff, I did buy. I've always wanted an M chassis car.
It's the short wheelbase Tamiya.
Yep. I've never had one, and there's a new chassis out. It's called the MB-01. Came out a couple years ago. It doesn't get a lot of love. A lot of people are upset with it because the way it's set up, it's very modular. You can change the wheelbase on it. You can change the drive from like front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, and like mid engine and like rear kind of engine or rear motor. And it uses the same like front suspension arms as a TT02. So what they're the arms that can steer, but it also uses them on the rear.
Okay.
So I guess it makes it seems like it has a lot of slop, I guess. But I'm building it right now. It doesn't feel like it has that much slop. I think people are maybe overblowing it. And
Well, I think people are comparing it to like a Yokomo race chassis or TRF Tamiya race chassis. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's a hobby grade. It's a hobby grade, but it's not a professional grade.
It doesn't even come with oil shocks. It's got friction
Right.
shocks. So the long story short here is that I bought a conversion kit for it from Matrix Racing Club to make it into a drift car. This is
Which is
this
cool.
is not the way you want to start drifting. Do not buy a drift conversion and then try to convert a Tamiya chassis because it's way more expensive. This is totally a passion Tamiya nerd project.
Sure.
The way to do it is what I did, which is buy the Yokomo chassis, and that's why I advised Naomi to get that one for you for Christmas because that's like the way to go. That's the entry level one.
It's definitely the
There's
cheapest
one-
way to get into it.
Yeah,
Without buying a ready to run car.
and the Yokomo chassis comes, even though, like I said, it's all plastic, everything is adjustable on it. It has
Yeah,
it
turnbuckles
comes with adjustable
everywhere.
turnbuckles. Yeah, you can do a lot with it. It doesn't, even though it's entry level, it doesn't feel cheap. So, but anyway, this Tamiya, I'm like halfway built the chassis. I did put entry level because I want to experiment with electronics. I put entry level Yokomo electronics in it, so it is brushless, but they're
It's
not
price.
even that much. They're not even that less expensive than the Hobby Wing, but they're slightly less expensive, and they're pre-wired. I don't have to do any soldering. And interestingly, they come with a Tamiya plug on them, but I had to get an adapter because the ESC is set up for lipos, not nickel metal hydrates. So that should be pretty interesting just to try it. And I bought a base Yokomo gyro because that's it. I'm like, I want to feel the differences in these electronics and understand why some are better than others. Because that was a big revelation driving the Yokomo chassis is that I put $150 servo in it. And it was like, oh, I get it. Like it's quiet and it's faster than a $20 cheap basher servo. So
Well, let me know how the mid-level stuff works because I got to purchase some stuff too. And if I can save some coin, I'd love to.
supposedly the ESC is pre-programmed. It's a drift ESC, but it's pre-programmed to be with good throttle response for drifting. And then I bought this weird no-name drift servo off of A-Main. That was only $50. I'm gonna try that out.
What's the brand name of it?
It's like digital racing. It's like something
Okay.
random.
I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos about electronics and what the combo of things is that's like budget friendly but also like good because I
Yeah.
don't want to spend a ton of money if I don't have to. But apparently the space bar mutes this.
Yeah.
I the screen went down. I hit space bar to pull it back up and I muted myself. I don't want to spend a ton of money on stuff I don't need, but I don't want to spend not enough money on stuff that's not good enough either. So I think that's my whole conundrum is I'm much like anything in life, I'm overthinking the purchase process and like looking at all these different things. And there's a few pretty detailed YouTube tutorials on like building these cars and going through them. And, if you want to get into it, I'd recommend you watch some of Shredcraft's videos.
Yeah.
Because he's very dry, which is good. He's not like one of those in your face, like, hey guys. He's very like about the stuff. He just tells you about what's good and what's not good. And he's been one of the guys I've been watching, and a couple others too, but he's the one whose name I can remember that's been pretty consistent with good advice, it seems. So he has a Yokomo RD 2.0 that he's building to a budget level, and been watching a couple of those different videos where he's, I purchased this part and it wasn't good enough, so I switched to this part. It's like that's exactly what I want to see. Like somebody like him who knows what he's talking about, purchasing cheaper stuff and saying what's good and what's not.
That's sort of what I'm trying. And I actually am trying to do little videos of this because it's on the workbench. It's easier than doing it out at a car.
Sure.
I'm not trying to hustle to get a car fixed and also do a video, I can just leave it on the bench and walk away. So I'm trying to get myself into making more videos that way. That's another thing for 2025. And I'm trying to put these on the Scale Autocasts and stuff. But yeah, I've got that's the other thing. You can also buy used stuff. Like I'm tomorrow night when I go to the drift track, I got a guy, he's getting rid of a basically brand new Hobby Wing, the Drift ESC, for like $50 less than what it costs.
BL
He's
10
said
or
he used
whatever.
it like
BL
twice. And he
BL
just didn't want
something.
it or whatever. And I picked up a the guy that runs the track. He was like, I got this Yokomo, I think it's an MD10 or an ST10. It's a low transfer special. So it's a roll car, they call it. So the weight is up high and really soft suspension, so it actually rolls and moves like a real car.
Sure.
And that's like almost a $400 chassis. And he was just like, I'm just gonna sell it for half price to anyone local that just wants to get it running as a roller. So I got it for like $170. It's basically brand new.
What chassis is that?
Load transfer special, LTS. Yokomo LTS.
That's Yokomo as well.
Yep. But
Okay.
basically
Well,
it's
I like
it's
watching those ones work. They're neat.
Yep. Yeah, it's basically I think it's based on a YD10, which shares a lot of parts of the RD10. Now we're really losing people. But
Yeah,
we'll get
100%.
some
Yeah.
drift people. But the battery, basically the motor is in the back, the transmission's in the back. It puts the battery up above the motor on the chassis for a ton of, and it has super soft long travel shocks. And so like the Japanese will call them roll cars because it literally pitches and rolls.
Yeah, I've seen videos of those cars working and they're super neat looking.
Yeah. And I was like, for that price, I'll just buy it and I'll do it slowly. I'll build it up. Like I found this local guy's got the ESC for cheap. I'll buy that. Next month, I'll buy a motor. I'll just put it together slowly. Sure. It was in good shape. So, the guy Pat was like, I just want to see somebody use it at the track. I was like, yeah. I got the 4-door Ken Mary body. It's
Okay.
The only problem with the vintage bodies, they're a little bit narrow, I guess. So it might be a little challenge to get it to fit with the right wheels.
Yeah, I've noticed
Offset wheels.
some guys have like way too much track in the front and the wheels are like 100% outside the fenders. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Nope, you lose me because it's not scale.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to make it as scale as I can and throw that body on it. And it should look cool, like rolling and moving around.
That's rad.
So
Yeah, it looks like the RC drift track here also does Wednesday night stuff. So I gotta head down there and check out some stuff and see what's available for sale, possibly for electronics down there.
it's the type of hobby where guys are always buying and selling stuff. You can always pick up used stuff.
Yep.
And I also picked up a TT02 drift chassis from Tamiya. So the reason why I bought it's when drifting started, it was 4-wheel drive cars with just plastic tires.
For sure.
So that's what this chassis is. It has no gyro or anything.
But you can't run that anywhere.
I can't run it anywhere, but I'm going to convert it to rear-wheel drive.
Oh, okay.
I bought a Matrix Racing Club conversion kit for the TT02 because I've seen a lot of those videos of them running TT02s and they look really cool. And
That works for my nerds.
Tamiya nerd.
Yeah.
But the reason why I bought this one, it's the one with the red RX-7 on it, because it was only $140 and it came with ball bearings and it came with the RX-7 body and it came with a lighting kit.
Weird.
So I was like, that's worth it right there. Even if I'm not.
And an ESC.
Yeah, it's got the original factory ESC and the brushed motor, which that's one of the ones I'm going to send off to our friend Brian, who's getting back. We got back into RC because now I've got several extras of those. I'll save those for other, basher projects, but I've got one extra set I can share. So yeah, that's worth it. I thought just to, and if I'm kind of looking at it, I'm like, well, I'll try the electronics and the MBO1. And if I like those, I'll either swap them over to try on the other one, or I'll get another set of those, or I'll see what I want to do. I'll wait and see what kind of electronics I want to put on it. I'll try
And the
some
beauty is you
different.
don't have to have all of them fully built all the time. You can transfer stuff around
Yeah.
because you can only drive so many at once.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some interesting, you know, Furitech's getting into drift stuff. They have a drift ESC. They have a drift motor that's 380 size, but has the bolt pattern to fit in a 540 area. So that's kind of interesting. Like it's like lighter, but has the power of it. So it's like that's interesting to try. Like, maybe it doesn't work, maybe it works well. Who knows? But I'm willing to experiment. So that's I don't know. I've definitely I don't know. This is like a really fun hobby. It's just you actually get to I have a place to use the cars. Um, you get feedback from driving them. You can tune them a little bit. In the long run, it's definitely less expensive than real cars.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not
for
gonna
sure.
stop. I'm not gonna stop playing with real cars, but I don't really need to build any more race cars. You know, Eventually on the long term horizon, yeah, I'd love to do a track day car, a real one. But in the meantime, I can just do
I'm
basic
about
track
to
days with the
ruin
G20.
this
What's that?
teaser comment here. I'm about to ruin my financial future by owning a race car. So
Okay.
yes, that's
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Also,
be
I can
racing
have all
very
these RC
often, but-
cars, and I don't have to insure them or register them.
Right. Or store them in the garage bot.
Yeah.
I'm actually building shelving for RC cars in my garage. So 'cause I know it's gonna be quite a few.
I'm just looking at my workspace area. I need to add some shelves to display stuff, but it's as Marco's getting a little bit older, he'll be able to do it with me too.
Yeah,
It's like
that'll become a lifetime obsession to him as well.
yeah, you can. It's not like karting's pretty cool. That's also super expensive for a family.
Yep.
It's a lot of work, but this is like a little bit more manageable. He can have his own car. Maybe he can get decent at it. So
He probably will be decent at it because kids are good at this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm into it.
I mean,
Sweet.
I definitely like to compete and maybe see how far I can go. I think it's possible to be decent at it. I could be completely wrong, but we'll see.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm looking forward to it, to getting into it. I'm looking forward. I'm a little envious of the proximity of your track to you compared to me to my track, but it is what it is.
Even the owner of the track he's like, you're closer than I am. It's like, yeah.
Nice.
But the vibe there is really cool. He's all about like making everybody faster and drive better. And like when there's a bunch of people there, he'll be like, all right, train time. And everybody like gets in, tries to run in a big long train, and they try to force everybody to be better at tandeming.
Sure.
Like non-competitively, just like let's
Well, the
all
good thing about this
practice.
too is that you can learn the tandem stuff, unlike in a real drift car where like the stakes are way higher. You're talking,
Yeah.
It's in Lexan bodies. They just pop back out again.
Yeah. I've definitely had a couple wrecks with people, and it's like, oh, your car not broken? All right, we're all good.
Carry on. Sweet. Well, I think that is a good first episode of 2026, Andrew.
It is. All right. So, I mean, we'll try to post more to social media.
For sure.
We'll try to post more pictures of the fun things we're doing with cars. I think we should. My challenge to you, Brad, maybe do a couple little short videos while you're working on stuff. Just throw them on Instagram. That's all you have to do. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just like what I did with the Volvo, right? Where I was like doing a little tour around the engine bay while I was working on stuff. Why don't you do that with
It's comfort zone level. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah. But it's like, it doesn't even have to be more than a minute. You can just be like,
Yeah.
here's what I'm working on.
Oh, it's funny. I was trying to figure out how to crimp the end on this bomber cable, and there are no videos that teach you how to do it.
I would imagine it'd be
So-
like a bike cable, no?
Sort of, kind of. But there's this weird little tool that it comes with that's a disposable crimper. And
Oh.
basically, you set it in like a bench vise and crush the crimper onto the part, and it crimps the thing.
Oh.
I don't have bench vise though. It's the problem.
Oh, but you have a bench,
I was like,
right?
oh, let's go buy a bench vise. Turns out bench vises very expensive. So I
Even
have
at
not
Harbor
bought one
Freight?
yet. Yeah, they weren't cheap.
All right.
Yeah, they weren't. I mean, I have like a tiny little dumb one that doesn't do very much, but yeah, they're not. I guess I can get. I don't know. We'll
That's
see.
also like something that would be good used like Facebook Marketplace. Look for a vice.
Yeah, I guess I don't need like a really big one.
No.
I don't need the professional level $1,500 one from Granger.
No. What does Harbor Freight have?
Let's see. I'm looking at it real fast. They have a 5-inch swivel vise. 5 inches enough?
Is
Nope.
that the width
I
of
didn't
the
say that out
jaws?
loud. I assume so, yes. It's $60.
Yeah,
So maybe
there you
that'll
go.
work.
You just need a
Home
good
Depot
bench.
has a 4.5 inch for $29. I have a bench. Can bolt it to my bench. It's totally
Yeah.
fine. All right, maybe I'll buy one.
There you go.
We'll see.
So yeah, do some short little videos and stuff, and I'm gonna try to do the same.
I'll attempt. I'm just not as comfortable doing the video and uploading the video as I am at doing pictures or when somebody else does a video. I actually did a probably hour-long video for a local guy who makes YouTube videos. Hasn't come out yet, but just a tour of he's big into vintage Japanese stuff, so I kind of
Oh, there you go.
a tour of the Japanese stuff in the collection, or some of it. We did about half the collection. So
Cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, come join us in the Discord. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. The other thing I think we should work on too is I know we're doing RC stuff, but maybe we should fit in a couple of model challenge builds. Get me to build
I
models
was actually
again.
just thinking about that. Yeah. So we should pull that off.
Yeah.
I would like to get Pulsar back out again. I started the other day on one and only did a few things and put it away, but I would like to get back into that too.
Yeah.
Only so much
'cause
time in the day, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. I even have my 24 scale Montero RC kit I need to finish up too. Because that's a cool thing to just show off at the drift track because people are into it. That's the other thing. They added a scale crawler course. So it's cool that I have one of those already. So everybody's into that too. When you get a little break from drifting, you go over, there's a corner. One of the guys does landscape and he brought a bunch of extra rocks and built a cool crawler course. So
I feel like the RC drift guys are into scale, and that's why they're also
Yep.
into crawlers.
Yep.
So that's why we fit in.
anyway, as we
Nerd level 1,000.
spiral here at the end.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right. End of Andrew.
we are on Off Topic Instagram. That's probably the best place. Not gonna even talk about the other places. Scale Autocast on Instagram. I'm Racing on Instagram. Rad, where can they find you?
They can also find me on Instagram at TSISS350. I also post on our own podcast accounts and obviously on the Discord. In order to find the Discord, message us on the Instagram. We'll get you there.
We'll get you a link. All right, cool. As always, keep yours analog.
Private club, cool people only.
Keep yours analog and aim for the roses.